Okay, we were looking at the people being organized, and they receive much opposition. You know, it's sad when you try to do something for the Lord and there's opposition. And sometimes it's not from outside, sometimes it's from within. And we don't ever want that to be the case here or in our own lives, right? And so there was some mocking in Nehemiah chapter 4. It says, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth." That means he was a little bit hot under the collar. "And took great indignation and mocked the Jews." First of all, foolish man right there. "And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, What do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned?" Now Tobiah, the Ammonite, was by him. And he said, "Even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stones." Can you imagine laughing? So what are these feeble Jews doing? Bless their heart. One fellow says, "Well, if a fox, how big's a fox?" A coyote. A fat fox, yeah. That's Andre the giant fox. They look like a little puppy dogger. At least ours do. And he says all they have to do is go up and put their paws on it and the whole wall will fall down. Now, that would be a wall that I build, but not the wall that they're being built. And so they made fun of him. And now, what's one thing constant in Nehemiah's that we have found out about Nehemiah and his life and this whole thing? What has been a constant? I'm going to sit down because I am tired. Huh? Yeah. Prayer. Man, I tell you what, anything came up. You know what he did? I just told you. What did he do? He prayed. And so these people are getting a little bit feisty and stuff like that. And so what he did, he prayed. Oh, well, my glasses are clear over there. No, okay, I'll go get them. Because I don't want to be on TV going like this. But I would let my hair down, but last time I did, I lost half of it. And I'm trying to keep the little bit of crop I got growing here. So here's the prayer. Hear, O God, hear, O our God, for we are despised, and turn the reproach on their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee. For they have provoked thee to anger before the builders. And so what happened? Well, they continued to build. And in verse 6, he said, So built we the wall, and all the wall that was joined together, and the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. You know what, folks? This is an attitude that we need as a church. We need to have a mind to work all the time. When you're tired, you work. When you're rested, you work. When you're out having fun, you work. You work for the Lord. I tell you, that is one of the most blessed and rewarding things that a person can do is work for the Lord and get His work done. You say, well, they got made fun of and everything. Yeah, but you know what? After it's all said and done, what happened? The wall got built. It just didn't miraculously happen. It took people. People who had the mind to work. They didn't want to sit down and let somebody else do it. They saw a devastating picture and they said, that's not the way I remember it, and this is not the way I want my kids to remember it. And so what did they do? They worked. They worked on this thing. Well, as it goes on, Judah said, the strength of the bearers of the burden is decay. That's now verse 10. And there's much rubbish, so that we will not be able to build the wall. And our adversary said, they shall not know, neither see, till we cometh in the midst among them, and slay them, and cause the work to cease. Oh, the plans of the ignorant. Oh, they said, there's so much rubbish that we'll be able to sneak down in there and we'll kill them all, and we will keep the Lord's temple, the walled city, down. But the bad thing about it is, it's who it belonged to. It belonged to the Lord. It was the Lord's wall, and it's the Lord's building. And I tell you what, the Lord wanted it done. He made provisions for it to be done. Okay? And so he tells how he did it. He says, therefore I set in the lower places behind the wall, and on higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up and said unto the noble and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. And it came to pass, when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one to his work. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of thy servant wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both their spears and their shields, and the bows and the habergeons, which is sort of like a defensive shirt, coat of mail. And the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. Now, it says in verse 70, they which build on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laden, every one with you of the hands wrought in the work, and with other hands had held a weapon. For the builders, every one, had a sword girded by his side, and so builded. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. So they have everybody spread out. It's on the wall. And on this wall, they have half of them working. I'm getting lower. Right now, I'm not feeling so hot. They have half of them working, and they have the other half guarding. Now, by Nehemiah, he has a very special person. What's that person doing? He's holding a trumpet. That trumpet is not like the trumpet we know. It's like the trumpet I have in my office. Yeah, he finally saw me. Now he's running. This trumpet's made out of a ram's horn. How many seen my trumpet? How many haven't? Okay. I'm going to have him blow it for him, because if I blow it tonight, it might blow my brains out. I also have a psaltery. And maybe Lori will play it for us one of these days. Or my mom, or my wife, or my boys. It's a Bible instrument, And so that trumpet was for when they saw something happening. They didn't have a telephone or two-way radio. Isn't that pretty? That came from Israel. Can you blow it? Let me try it. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. Don't go anywhere. Here. You blow it now. He can actually play a song on it. Don't worry about the spit. It's same family. Okay. Mine puts you to sleep and he wakes you up. Okay? Huh? Yeah, I don't, because I might have a heart attack. And he said, he said that he'd blow it. In what place thereof ye hear the sound of the trumpet, verse 20, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held their spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise, at the same time said I unto the people, let every one with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us and labor on the day. So neither I nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guards which follow me, none of us put off our clothes. Why? Because you got to be ready to go to war. Can't be finding your breeches. Well, except for a short time. You say, well, they're going to stink after a while. But what did he say? Except when they washed their clothes. And so we see that he took the threat from these people very, very serious. It's too low. Thank you. That's going to be more comfortable. Here. Say, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I just started not feeling good. Thank you, sir. No, it's not COVID.
That little table?
I'll be fine. And so there's some discouragement takes place. Can everybody see me? I don't do this ever, do I? Chapter 5. There was a great cry of the people and other wives against the brethren of the Jews. For there that said, we, our sons or daughters, are many, therefore we take up corn for them, that they may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we have mortgaged our lands, vineyards and houses, that we might buy corn because of dearth. There were also that said, we have borrowed money for the king's tribute, and that upon our lands and our vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. And lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants. And some of our daughters are brought into bondage already. They've already had come and taken their kids away from them to pay for the king. Tell you what, Nehemiah has a problem with this because Xerxes made him governor over all this stuff. And so he had more power than the king, if you would. Although he showed the king much respect, we're going to find this out pretty quick. I was very angry. Now this is called righteous indignation. This is called be angry and sin not. Can you be angry and sin not? You can. And this is a time where he was angry. He didn't sin. He just set things straight. He says, and when I heard their cry and these words, then I consulted with myself. You know, a lot of times you take counsel from people, and there's times where you talk to yourself. You're concentrating on the way of the Lord, and I believe the Lord puts it in your heart what's right and wrong. He said, I'm not going to consult with anybody else. I know what's right. And he said, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers and said unto them, ye exact usury, now money, every one of his brethren, and I set a great assembly against them. And I said unto them, we after all of our abilities have redeemed our brethren the Jews, which were sold unto the heathens. And will ye even sell your brethren? Or shall they be sold unto us? Then they held their peace and found nothing to answer. You know what he did? He just called sin, sin. And they knew it was sin. They knew it was wrong. they took advantage of a situation and they got called on the carpet for it. There are people who will take advantage of the situation. That's why they tell you if somebody calls you on the phone and tells you owe somebody money, you don't pay a dime. You don't pay a dime. You tell them, I tell you what I'm going to do. You send some official out, and I'll have the policeman here with me. And we'll talk about the matter a little bit more. And you know what? They'll hang up. Randy got a call here at the church one day, and this little lady was threatening him, and he didn't pay off his OU education loan. How many years did you go to OU? Zero. Okay. He said, is that right? Yeah. Okay. And so I was in the background saying, Randy, keep him on the line. Loud. I'm calling the cops. Well, by the time the cops would have got there, they were already hung up and forgot about him. But these people were taking advantage of him, and they were of their own. It'd be like American leaders taking advantage of us. It's wrong. It's not supposed to be that way. See, I can still be tacky and not feel very good. And so he said this. I'm starting to feel better, guys. I'm going to be standing up here in a minute. And he said, it's not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in fear of our God because of the reproach of the heathens and our enemies? I likewise, my brethren and my servants, might exact of them money and corn. I pray you, let us leave off this usury. Restore, I pray you, to them even this day their lands, their vineyards, their olive yards, and their houses, also their 100th part of the money, and of the corn, the wine, and the oil that ye exacted of them. Look what they did. They didn't beat around the bush. Then said they, we will restore them, and we will require nothing of them. So will we do as thou sayest. Then I called the priests and took an oath of them that they should do according to this promise. Now he's making a statement. Also I shook my lap and said, so God shake out every man from his house and from his labor that performeth not this promise. Even thus be he shaken out and emptied. And all the congregation said amen and praised the Lord. And the people did according to the promise. You know what he did? He made things right. When people go away from God and the temple was burnt down and walls were torn down, there became lawlessness. We saw lawlessness this past year. When the governors and the mayors would not give any power to the police, we saw things tore down. And then after we got a new president, they thought all this would stop. And then we saw it continue on, and what did they write signs saying? We don't like him either. And you come to find out it wasn't about the presidents at all. It's about lawlessness. Then they decide they better get a hold on it. Well, that came a few months too late, if you ask me. So, you have one group doing it. And there's another group that's usually law-abiding, and they thought, well, if they're going to get away with it, we'll get away with it. And they tried it. It didn't make it right, folks. Instead of burning down innocent people's business, homes, and statues, the people decided to go to the representatives of the people. And for the first time, these representatives got excited. Did they not? They decided something needed to be done. If they would have taken care of it early spring, summer, and fall, this wouldn't be happening today. Well, the discouragement's taken away. We saw the greed and the heartlessness of these people. And we see Nehemiah takes care of it. Now in Nehemiah chapter 6, we see his craftiness. Now what they're going to do is they're going to try to separate him from everybody else. And what they're wanting to do, they're wanting to do a Caesar trick on him. Have you ever studied in school Caesar yet? Have you boys studied Caesar? No. You haven't? Well, something bad happens to him. They have a funeral for him. And there comes the famous, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear. I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. What did he end up doing? He ended up praising him. People said, oh, he's going to do okay, and they walked off. Well, Caesar had a little trouble. The Senate didn't like him very much. And they didn't have guns back then, but they had swords and daggers. And so they brought, to a Senate meeting, they brought their swords and daggers. He came in there, and you know what happened to that rascal? Yeah. He became a sprinkler. Isn't that how you do it? They killed him. This is what they was wanting to do to Nehemiah. I tell you what, let's get him off by himself. We'll kill him. Do you think God's going to let something happen to that man? He's got a job. That's like those who try to do Moses. Isn't that right? I'm starting to feel better. Can you tell that? I don't know what I have, but boy, I tell you what, I wasn't feeling hot. And Moses, you take too much on yourself. I do. Okay. Well, God does away with him. And man, he does away with them in different ways. He uses snakes sometimes. He uses a hole in the ground sometimes. And one time, probably know this one, he drew a line in the sand. Everybody that's on my side, come over here. Everybody's on your side. You get over there. My side has knives and swords. Go take care of the people. It's not going to work. You know why? Because God's smarter than these idiots. Nehemiah gets his smarts from God, and he's smarter than these idiots. By the way, I'm calling him names, aren't I? That's in tribute to Rush Limbaugh, who was a name caller. He died today. I couldn't listen to him. He's arrogant. A man that was stuck on himself. I know a lot of you loved him, but I just couldn't stand him. His attitude. It says, now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem, the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies heard that I builded the wall, and that there was no breach left therein, though at the time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. Well, they came and said, let us come together and meet. At someone of the village in the plain of Ono. Ono. Or is that Ono? I think it ought to be Ono. He says, oh no, I'm not showing up. But they thought to do me mischief, and I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work come down? Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? Yet they sent unto me 4 times after this sort, and I answered them after the same manner. You know, it's sort of like, was it Elisha or Elijah? I think it was Elisha. Well, it's one of those two fellers. They ran around together. The king, I think it was Elisha. King says, you know, you're going to show up. So he sent the deal. And what happened to the messenger? He said, come. You remember? God killed him. So they sent another group. And what happened? Killed him dead. God sent another group. What happened? Killed him. The king said another deal. And what happened? Didn't kill these. You know why? This one said, sir, now this paraphrase, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but let me tell you, you ever heard don't kill the messenger? All the messengers were dropping. He says, king would sure like to visit with you. Now, on the end of that, I'm going to put ... That means you go look it up and study it. And so he says, no, sir, you can come as often as you want. I'm going to do it. So what they say? Well, we'll lie about him. And so we'll just tell the king you're a rebel. And thou hast also appointed prophets to preach of thee at Jerusalem, saying there is no king in Judah. Verse 7. And now it be reported to the king according to these words. Come now, therefore, and let us take counsel together. Then I sent unto him, saying, there are no such things done as thou sayest, that thou finish them out of thine own heart. For they all made us afraid, saying, their hands shall be weakened from the work, that it be not done. Now, therefore, what is he doing these last few words? Praying. Oh God, strengthen my hands. And afterward I came into the house of Shemaiah, the son of Deliah, the son of Him, who was shut up. And he said, let us meet together in the house of God, or in the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they will come to slay thee. Yea, in the night will they come to slay thee. And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there that being as I am, would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go. And lo, I perceived that the Lord had not sent him, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me. He says, therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid, and do so in sin, that ye might have matter, an evil report, that they may reproach me. Verse 14, what's going to happen? He's going to pray. My God, think thou upon Torbani and Sabelliot, according to these their works, and on their prophets and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. Verse 15. So the wall was finished in the 20th and 5th day of the month. You see, folks, to make a long story even longer, what happened is he kept plugging along. And in doing so, he had victory. And victory does come. God will bring those to help you have great victory. But again, let me remind you, you have to work. You have to have a heart to pray. And you have to have an eye to watch. And without that, my friends, the work's going to fail. But with that, the work's going to increase.